Yeah. So
So
I know.
this morning, I probably woke up maybe around maybe about 3:30 in the morning. Usually that's the time I take my bathroom break or whatever. And I look at my phone to multiple text messages stating that Chadwick Boseman had passed, and it was an absolute shocker to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, I couldn't get back to sleep after that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and even since me hearing it, I think I've probably shed a tear probably about 3 times so far.
Wow.
Like I couldn't believe it. But what they're saying is that he had stage 4 colon cancer,
Mm-hmm.
and he had got diagnosed in 2016 at
Mm-hmm.
stage 3, and it just progressed from there despite him having several surgeries and chemotherapy to combat the illness. He succumbed to cancer. Yeah, last night. So it's really sad, but it's also inspiring to hear that he had been battling since 2016, but in our minds, he didn't skip a beat because there's so many
Mm-hmm.
movies that came out since then with him in it, and nobody really like even this year seeing pictures of him. It looked like he lost a lot of weight,
Mm-hmm.
but I just felt like he was that dedicated of an artist that maybe he was losing weight for a movie role. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't necessarily think a whole lot of it because people
Mm-hmm.
like Christian Bale and 50 Cent and other folks have done that in the past. So I
Mm-hmm.
didn't think a whole lot of it. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't think that he was sick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I shared it last night, like 20 minutes after it had broke. And I was just like, wow. And all on my timelines, on all my social media platforms, it's just tributes and people posting, celebrities and everybody, not even just celebrity, just like people, fans of, his work and everything going down, our timeline. So it's very, very sad on top of everything else that's going on. So
Mhm.
Yeah, it's definitely sad, but
Mhm.
um, hopefully, I mean, I know him having to go through that. I think it might have probably been worse on him being here, honestly, because if he was that bad, if it was that bad cancer and he was still trying to work and do all that he had to be going through it.
Mhm.
And hopefully he's like in a better place, you know.
But for him to be in that state and to keep working, like people, what are you doing?
Exactly. Like I
they
don't.
said he was working throughout that, multiple surgeries, multiple chemo sessions. As a person who watched someone die from pancreatic cancer, I could speak on the tremendous amount of things that these patients go through, that these people who are diagnosed with any type of cancer, ultimately that's it's going to take your life. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the mortality rate for pancreatic cancer, colon cancer, prostate cancer, like those things, breast cancer, ovarian cancer, those things are
You got to
um
catch it like fast.
that's what I was about to say. To be on, you have to be on it. You can catch it, and if you don't, it's sad.
It's
And
a
then to watch
monster.
it.
He'll take over.
And with the chemotherapy, like I just was remembering, like the chemotherapy, it it does something else. Like it's supposed to be helping and killing the cancer, but it's also killing
It
the good
hurts.
too. Like, you know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? So it's it's really, really bad. And
Everybody that I know that did the chemo, you might be able to speak because you might have been closer to the people that You knew, but it's just like they didn't like after a while. They're like, I don't even want to do chemo no
I don't want to do it. I do not want to do it because it's just like it's let me just live the rest of my time how it's going to be
more. Yeah,
versus I feel like they ultimately feel like that's making is progressing for them or pushing them further like the fight. I don't know, I can't speak to how a person feel ultimately, but I feel like they're just like because the pain is unbelievable,
hmm
unbelievable to watch somebody go through that. So
I think,
my prayers
as
are with his wife and his family because I know it's terrible because I read that he died. He passed at home. So
Mhm.
and see, that's the part that get me more than him passing away. It's just like 4 years. You say he's 2016. He
Mhm.
was
mhm,
diagnosed. That's 4 years. It just and
mhm,
then you still trying to get up and do movies and all that
mhm.
stuff. Uh,
Mhm.
for him to
The
be that
same thing with
strong.
like the same thing with like Charlie Murphy too. Do you
Yeah,
guys remember like with Charlie
exactly. Yeah.
Murphy? It was like one day,
He was
he was good,
he was
and
on
then
the was it Empire he was on or something?
Power. He was
Power.
on
Power, yeah.
Power,
And he was
and
looking. I'm
then
like, is there something wrong with him?
Yeah, he was really skinny.
because like the chemo and the treatments, and you drop weight, you lose hair. It's just it's taking
It
you
take
out
away your
faster
appetite,
than
don't it?
yeah before the cancer even do. It's very very important, and I want to say for males to to stay up on their health and their checkups, and go get those things checked out because it's really important. And I know um I can speak about just in general that from me seeing like males are more reluctant to go to get the annual physicals or annual checkups
Or just get
as
a
women do.
colonoscopy or whatever.
Mhm.
Hmm. Those are important. Like I take pride in being a woman and keeping my body checked internally, especially after having kids. And there's just some things that you just have to do. That you have to go get the unseen looked at.
But also, one other thing that I wanted to kind of like point out is when it comes to getting like colonoscopies and stuff like that, at the age that he was at when he got diagnosed, he would have only been like 39.
Ain't
And
that
that's not
crazy?
necessarily like the typical age where people start getting colonoscopies, is it?
Right.
I thought it
I've
was
seen
So,
like.
that.
See, my thing is
and
40 to 50.
at the time that he got diagnosed, he was already at stage 3. So, for him to get it diagnosed earlier than that, I don't necessarily know that doctors would be recommending that you get a colonoscopy that early, would they?
But now things might
If
have
there's a family
accelerated.
history, we don't
Yeah,
know much
Okay.
about what's going on, but if there was a family history, you know what I'm saying, or something like that, then
definitely.
yes, because they say that with breast cancer they put an age on it. But I ultimately just feel like if you don't feel right, you could request those tests to be done, or
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying. So he ultimately had to not been feeling right to finally go, and it already at stage 3. We don't know, or maybe they didn't know. It took them a while to diagnose what was really going on with him. Like, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Um, I don't know. I just know from speaking from experience with my mom passing away at 39 from pancreatic cancer, which is those numbers aren't, you know what I mean? Like she was
The
39.
percentage is
Like, you know
crazy.
what I'm saying? Like pancreatic cancer, like what? But after her passing, going through her things, like I learned that she was diagnosed 2 years prior to that. And the doctor only gave her life expectancy was only 2 years, and she lived those 2 years. Like it's crazy. But she died at 39. So 37, she was already experiencing problems and issues that we had no idea. Like we had no idea. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, so I don't know. Like it's just I know everybody is different. I know that cancer is deadly. to in a lot of cases, and it's really really sad, and it moves rapidly. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'm one
because
of those people. I'm sorry. I'm one of those people. If something don't feel right, or you know what I'm saying, I'm off to the doctors. If my husband tell me, this, that, and the third, oh, we're going to go get that checked. Like I'm that type of person. Like you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'll definitely go to the doctors, but I'm also the person to self-diagnose through WebMD, and so the doctors hate me. Like, as soon as I go in there, I'll be like, I think it's this, and they be like,
right.
it ain't
Yes.
that. Like the one time my toe was hurting, and I went to the doctor, and I'm all up on WebMD. Like, so I got in the doctor's office. I was like, I think it's gout, and the doctor was like, no, it's not. Your shoe's too tight. Get it. Get and I changed my shoes, and it's fine.
Okay. Okay. See. Yes. 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 Um,
But I think I know that earlier in his career, Chadwick, I was like, man, is they gonna have the same black dude playing different people like for the next few years or whatever? Because he had played Jackie Robinson, Thurgood Marshall, and uh musician. Why is
James
having a brain
Brown.
for James Brown? I was like, are they
yes.
gonna
Yes.
have the same?
I couldn't get it either. It was on the tip of my tongue too.
but with him, the thing that and don't get me wrong, I felt like he was definitely an awesome actor before that, but the one that impacted me the most was Black Panther, and because I feel like with that movie, that was the first opportunity that black people, and especially like little black boys and little black girls, got a chance to see a superhero hero movie that had a majority of black people in it, and where the characters were actually from Africa. Although it was a made up country in Africa, it just it felt different. It hit different,
Mm-hmm.
and even at that time, it was like a major event. Like it touched a part of my heart to where we even got like the whole family together and did breakfast in a movie. Like we had a huge crew go to the movies just to see it so we could have that experience together, and it was just such an
Mm-hmm.
awesome thing. And then when
Mm-hmm.
you look at like even with social media and different things on TV showing the amount of support for the movie at the time that it opened, and people even dressing in African attire at that time, it was just like a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful thing.
It was a whole
So
movement.
it was, and it just I'm really proud of him and the work that he did in the short time um, that he had on this earth. I wish he had more time, but apparently God felt it necessary to call him home. I don't know. I know Black Panther 2 is slated for 2022, so I'm wondering what they're going to do with that.
This might be
Mm-hmm.
already shot.
Mm-hmm.
You think?
Probably a
I'm
lot of
sure
it.
probably a good bit or a good majority of it is. I don't
Yeah,
know how they worked through the pandemic. You know what I mean? And I'm sure these last couple of months for him probably were
tough.
horrific
Yeah.
for him and his family because
Mm-hmm.
you know I just know from experience and watching loved ones and seeing loved ones those last couple of months terrible. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, thank you, Chadwick Boseman, for your contributions to the art. You will be sorely missed,
Of
and we
course.
yes.
appreciate everything you've done up until the end. And prayers to his family and everyone close to him, because I know this has to be a hard time.
Yes.
It's not on the beat.